As a student for the past whole of my life and as an employee for the past few months, I've realized this one character trait or ideology that literally has the power to change my entire life. Now, before we get into that, I would like to tell you this incident that occurred recently at my work with the CEO of the company. Now, to be very honest, the new job has been exciting. There are a lot of things that are very different and things that I haven't done before. So, there's a constant new approach to a lot of things and I'm experiencing new things. So it's very exciting. But recently, this meeting with the CEO, it was a roundtable meeting. Again, something that I've not done a lot of before. And it's a little bit intimidating because I'm sort of like the small fish in the pond at this point, although I don't value myself as that. But in the hierarchical order of things, that's where I am placed. But in this meeting, I was feeling a little bit sleepy. To be very honest, in meetings and discussions where I'm not very interactive, where I'm not involved a lot, where I'm not asked a lot of questions or where I'm not allowed to speak a lot, I've realized I tend to feel a little bit lethargic, which is not something that's great, but I probably should have had a coffee before, but I did not. But anyways, the CEO pitches a problem to us. Now, for the sake of privacy, I will not mention the exact problem, but let's just say that not enough leads were converting and we're part of the marketing team, so it's our job to fix that, right? And that's when one of my teammates stepped in. We'd been discussing few days ago about some ideas that I had of how things could be done, and she was like, yeah, Dhruv has this idea of solving something similar to this and probably you could implement that idea. Now immediately I was like, oh yeah, I got excited and I was awake now because again I'm being interactive, and I was like, yeah, we could do this and this, and it could possibly work out because of this and this. And as soon as I said that, I felt like a little bit tension in the room sort of increased. Now, I don't know if it was just me or what was happening, but the CEO was like, okay, great idea, Dhruv. Pick it up, you do it, work on this project and go ahead with it. I could feel the heat a little bit when I took up the responsibility. Now, before we get back to talking more about that story, I want to quickly tell you about what founder's mentality is. Now, if you go by the technical terms, founder's mentality is basically created by the founding members of a company. It's basically when they choose employees or give employees the freedom or get the employees to feel like the company belongs to themselves. And by doing so, the employees can act and make decisions in an agile manner for the company. So they will always put the company's best interest in front of theirs because they are thinking like a founding member too. This usually happens in smaller companies, and as companies scale, it becomes difficult to create this unless there's some sort of emotional drive related to the whole company's purpose. It overall creates a sense of responsibility in each and every employee of the company. So that's basically what founder's mentality means. Now, the next thing that I want to ask you is, what do you think differentiates a founder of a company or a CEO from an employee? Is it the way they look? Is it the respect they get? Is it the fact that they're at the top of the chain? Well, it could be a lot of these things even, but according to what I have realized, it mostly has to do with responsibility. The CEO or the founder of the company has to take up the most responsibility in any given situation. Whether there's a mistake, whether there's an aggressive decision, or whether something's not working out, the CEO or the founder of the company has to step in. Now, sure, in bigger companies, he can probably leverage his work to somebody else and get that done from somebody else. But in most cases, the CEO or the founder or whoever it is going to have the most personal connect with the company, and if a problem arises that nobody can solve, and in a lot of cases the founder probably even thinks that only I can solve this problem. So responsibility is what differs a CEO from an employee. For example, when I was reading the Elon Musk biography, there was this part where it was mentioned that Elon Musk would ask somebody to do something, like he would give somebody a task. Now, I don't know whether this is exactly true, it's quoted in the book. I'm paraphrasing it sort of, but it goes along the same lines. He would ask his employees that, yeah, could you do this task in this many given days? And sometimes, well, eventually it stopped, but in the beginning, a lot of employees would be like, no, I can't, no, we can't, it's not possible, it's impossible, that's ludicrous, whatever it is. And Elon Musk would tell them once again, like, okay, look, can you do it or not? And if they still said no, he would fire them and he would sit and do the job of the employee. And apparently a lot of times he would actually do a really good job at it. Again, these are things that he might have not known how to do at all, but he would still take responsibility for it and get it done. That's what differentiates a founder from an employee. Now, my approach to founder's mentality is a little bit different. Since I am an employee and at some day I want to become a CEO, I have sort of reverse engineered things. If I want to become the founder of a company and run a big company, what do I do? Do I dress like a CEO? Do I act bossy around people? No, it's none of that. It's as simple as taking responsibility. Like I said, I reverse engineered things. Instead of the CEO creating something like this, if I want to reach there, I need to start taking up responsibility. Now, why is responsibility important in all walks of life, and how is it not just relatable to companies and employees and all of that different stuff? It's relatable to all walks of life. For example, if you want to have a beautiful family, you're going to have to be a responsible dad or mom. Or if you want to have a successful career, you're going to have to take responsibility up. People that have founders mentality in a company are much more likely to jump through the ranks simply because they're ready to put in more work and they have more of an emotional appeal to the company and whatever it is. So if you want to get into the corporate ladder, the whole rat race, then sure, founders mentality and responsibility can help you there too. Or even just being a happy person. Look, all of us are constantly complaining about all the problems we face. That, oh, my luck is bad, it's just circumstances, I was born in a shitty place, all of these different things. But at the end of the day, we are responsible for where we are at all given times. So if you want to be happy, if you want to be in a better place, taking responsibility for your actions, for your decisions, for everything you do in your life, it stems from founders mentality. So that's basically what and why you need to have founders mentality. And to say the least, I took up the project and I'm executing it, and sure, I might not even execute it to the best, but at the end of the day, I at least had the audacity to take the responsibility, and I feel like I am one step closer on my journey to becoming where or who I want to become. Again, these are all decisions that I'm taking just to prepare myself for when I'm in the situation, what I'll have to deal with. Tomorrow when I'm running a company and a problem arises and I don't have anybody else that can solve it, I am going to have to step in and solve it. I cannot put it on somebody else or expect somebody else to do it because they're not. Well, ideally, if it would be my company, I would like for my employee to have that founder's mentality and pick it up themselves. But if not, or if I don't have any employees, which is probably going to be how it's going to start, I am going to want to have to solve the problem myself. So how do I prepare myself for that situation in advance? Well, it's simple. I just take responsibility now. Okay, so I've also got a few hows, like how do we go about taking responsibility, because again, responsibility can be a burden. The first thing I have for you is watch out for instant validation. Look, a lot of us, because of schools and because of this whole Takti system, we've all been fooled to believe that work hard on your exam, you get good grades, you'll get a reward. If you run fast enough in a race, you'll get a reward. It's basically we're all living on this gratification and validation system. And the first trap that arises when it comes to taking up responsibility is validation. We need to be clear in our mind that I am not taking responsibility for, in this case, let's say for my CEO to appreciate me, or my boss to appreciate me, or my peers to appreciate me. No, I am taking up responsibility because I want to do this for myself. I want to better myself as a person. I want to know what it's like to be under the burden of responsibility. I want to put myself in my favorite situation, the uncomfortable situation. Now, the next thing goes hand in hand with this. Do not be a kiss ass. Like, again, you need to be clear with your morals, your ethics. You're taking responsibility for yourself, not to impress anybody, not to get likes, not to do any sort of validation related shit. Kiss ass people are like cringe as fucking. Honestly, like, I don't want to say it, but I don't see how kiss-ass people can be individuals of themselves, because they're always doing something to get the validation of somebody else. So how are you going to build something or do something for yourself when you don't have validation? When you start your own company and you have to take responsibility, nobody's going to validate you for it. Like, you can do a good job and there's going to be no like validation. Like, you're just going to have to keep going. And if you're a kiss-ass person, then that's just not going to work for you. So please, if you're part of this family, do not be that person. And the next thing is, don't overdo it. Don't overdo taking up responsibility. There's only so much that the human brain, psychological, emotional, physical well-being can tolerate. So don't overdo taking up responsibility. Again, this comes with trial and error. Like, you just need to keep experimenting with how much responsibility is too much and how much isn't. And that only comes with doing and taking action. So that's a whole different video together. But yeah, that's that for don't overdo it. So before we end this video, I would just like to ask you, are you going to be one of those fools in the world that just keeps going around blaming every second thing about how their life sucks, about how they're so unlucky, about all of these different factors and circumstances that honestly, let me tell it to you right now, and I do have to remind myself about this too a lot of times, it does not matter. What matters is you. What are you doing about it? How responsible are you? Because at the end of the day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you at some point were responsible for it. Make movement in some direction and you will realize the power of responsibility. So that's it for this video, guys. In my next video, I'm thinking about talking about how some of us play the wrong game, and there's different games in life. Since we're all so involved in games and we like games, I think there are different categories and it's an exciting topic. So I'm still considering whether I'm going to make a video on that or not. But if you like this video, then do go ahead and like, share and subscribe. And I hope you stick around for the next video. And until then, bye bye.